So I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is Monday, October 2nd, and we have Lauren with us remote. And the one change to the agenda is that shortly after the agenda was published, Lauren's address was published after the fact that this was published. So that's the only change to the agenda. So with that, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lauren, that was difficult.
I agree. Maybe I should have just stayed quiet.
Okay. Okay, let's get ourselves under control here. Okay, roll call, please.
Deb Polly,
Here?
Sarah Lanen,
Here.
Lauren Pedersen,
Here.
Molly Maniak, Rob Langheim,
Here.
Corinne Hennon,
Here.
Jenny Kuski.
Here.
And we have our student rep Daniela with us tonight. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, consideration of the agenda. Like I said, there was just the one change, including the address that Lauren is with us at. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Lauren, is there a second?
Second.
Rob, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. No public comments. Consent agenda, we have the minutes from the previous September meetings, the monthly finance reports for September, I believe through September 15th, and just a notation that Amy included that they are preparing for the auditors that will be here week after next, so they will be super busy with the auditors, so good luck to them. For donations, we have Mighty Cause Foundation, who donated to the JES Backpack Program $45. We have the new hire high school administrative assistant Amanda Franklin and new hire kids company group leader Chloe Ritter. I'll entertain a motion to approve consent.
A motion to approve.
Jenny, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Sarah, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, action items, the assurance of compliance with the state and federal law prohibiting discrimination. Superintendent Evenson.
Chair Polly, members of the board, good evening. Our first agenda item is an annual item that we do. Really, we put out all of the policies, handbook items, all of those things to our staff. They're required to review them and signify that they have reviewed all of those things. We do this every year annually, and we are required to submit that to the state. And that was submitted last week, and we received the email that we are in compliance.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the assurance of compliance.
Motion to approve.
Lauren, is there a second?
Second.
Sarah, okay, discussion, questions for Superintendent Evenson? This is just an annual thing that we have to do every year, just one of those compliance things, so. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. And we have a very exciting presentation tonight. So we have the buildings and trades and with the Scott County update. So Superintendent Evenson.
So last month at the scale meeting, I knew there would be some Jordan celebrities there and presenting, and I'm not gonna lie, I was moved. Like, I teared up. It was such a good presentation. We have the most amazing partnership with Scott County and really great things happening with our kids. And so I think before I even got back home from that meeting, and I reached out and said, Steve McClellan, our buildings and trades teacher, like, we need you to present this to the board and share the amazing things that are happening. So I'm gonna have Steve come up. He has a guest as well from Scott County, Adam Jessen. And I know Mr. Visner is here as well, but I'm going to have those two come up, and they're going to share the recent collaboration that they have done with the Cedar Lake Farm Regional Camper Cabin Projects.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, and I don't know if I can fill those shoes twice, so we'll see how it goes here. Back in July of 2022, I got an email from Adam Jessen from the county saying, this is an opportunity, the county would like to partner with you making these camper cabins. And I emailed back, called, I think actually, immediately saying, yes, we want in. And what a great opportunity it was, and is, and hopefully will continue to be. We built 2 camper cabins for the county. They're going to Cedar Lake Farms. They're actually out there now. Shakopee Schools did the same thing. Yeah, you can go ahead and go through. And partnering with the county was great. We also partnered, I would say, with Shakopee Schools, going back and forth and connecting with each other and comparing notes and just kind of working together. The cabins left here the end of August, incomplete, but close. And the plan is for the school, for us to go out to Cedar Lake Farms and continue working on those with this year's class. They are 14 by 25 feet and 1 single room cabin with bunk beds, table with a screened porch on the front. And I'll be honest, I'm quite proud of how they looked, even though they were yet to be completed. A few things. Reflecting back, there's 4 words that would come to my mind. Yeah, you can just go ahead and cycle through. Opportunity, experience, pride, and relationships. And I'm thinking the opportunity was part of it for the school. Having a project like this is not always easy to come by. Several years ago, we partnered with Dave Sywick, and we gave him the year off last year, but Dave also provided the materials and we provided the labor. In this case, the county did the same thing. It's nice because we don't have to round up the project so much, we don't have to come up with the money, and we don't have to sell the item. Pictures of some kids doing some coursework. Thinking about the opportunities for the schools, but as well, and much more maybe important, would be the students. They get to try things out, having experience and what they would deem to be good experience and maybe not so good experiences, helping them to determine down the road what it is that maybe they want to pursue, or maybe they know right away, I don't want to pursue that piece of it. They get the opportunity to do some materials and cost planning, which is also important as far as students knowing how much things cost, because if I make a mistake or if I'm careless and make the mistake, how much is that going to cost somebody else? Or eventually, if they're builders, it might come out of their pocket. Trying to keep a timeline and a schedule. Before we even started, we had a calendar, a timeline when we would be done. Well, obviously we didn't quite get there. Delays in materials, delays with the weather, and so on. So all those things are learning points. Building skills, working safely on a roof, ladders, and power tools. And all those things needed to be done in order for this project to come together. And it was quite complex, I will say. Simple, small, but in many ways quite complex for students just starting out. Many students got excited about tasks. They would stay here after school, sometimes later than I liked. We came in on weekends and we did work just because they wanted to be here. They were concerned about getting it done and they wanted to get to that specific point. And there was one student who missed many days of school, but he was here all those Saturdays and after school. The experiences, trying new things out, making connections with core classes. A lot of math that kids don't like to do necessarily. They did it because it applied. Jenny's smiling. A sense of pride and quality in work. And we really enforce that. We encourage that, I should say. And I would say even enforced it to the point where we set these walls up pre-built when it was, well, we built them when it was dry inside, of course, and wet outside. We put them together, we stood them up, and it was square and it was level. And I think that in itself is, if you for a life lesson for kids. If you do the pre-planning, if you take the time and you take the care to get yourself set up, it's going to get you nice square walls or, well, you get the idea. Students experience a sense of pride. I was proud of them. I was proud of the work they did, and they were concerned with the work, what other students would say about it, what I would say about it, and they all worked well together. A few students professed or said that they had problems with OCD, but I loved that. They were the ones who said, no, that's not good enough, and the other students would take it, and we'd take it apart. We would redo it, they would redo it to their specifications, and they took ownership. Developing lifelong skills. Is this a career? Is this just a hobby? Maybe they're going to be working for you someday. Who knows? Relationships. Learning to work together. That was huge and key. Students who maybe wouldn't normally sit with each other at the dining or the cafeteria tables, they crossed paths and they started doing that in the shop where they were divided side against side, or not against, but side versus on the other. They were split. And pretty soon they were crossing over and learned to work together and learned to appreciate those other students for who they were and what they could do. And I imagine some of them would be sitting at the same lunch tables in the cafeteria. Looking back, it was a great project, great experience, some great photos. The quality, in my opinion, I was proud of it, and I think the kids were too. Yet to be completed, but it was a great opportunity. I have to thank Scott County for that opportunity, and Jeff for signing the contract with me, and helping this to happen. So it was good for the kids, it was good for me, and we hope to continue this project. They left here in that condition, but they were, however, stained so that they can sit out there in the rain and the weather and not be damaged. So if you'd like to take a look at them, if you take a drive down County Road 2 just south of Cedar Lake, you'll see them on the left side. So, all right. Questions for you?
So you said now this year students will be finishing them.
Mhm.
So how does that work?
Well, so the outsides are relatively, I would say, complete. There's
Yep.
a little siding on the end. Otherwise, it's inside. We're going to be doing the electrical. We'll do the insulating, the vapor barrier, and then there's interior trim, well, siding and trim that needs to go in. And then the bunk beds we've made last January, so they're in our shop, and they'll eventually go out as well. So
So you guys will be going to that site to finish out? and,
Yes.
Like throughout, how are you guys planning that?
well, currently, we are taking a van and splitting the group. One half stays back and does OSHA 10-hour training course, and I drive the van with a split group, but I think if I can get my DOT certification, we'll be taking that activity bus.
Okay.
And then we can fit all of us together, so.
Perfect.
We hope to be done, or relatively done with our piece, maybe by December, so. And I think it's something new for this year.
So the students that graduated last year, obviously, you have a new group working on it
Right.
this year, somewhat.
Yep, yep, they're all new students this year. Just a note, we have 3 students who are going to school to be electricians. One student who got a job as a framer over the summer, loves it. He plans on opening another business with another student from the class, so we'll see where that goes. But a lot of excitement from those kids.
That is awesome. And
Mhm.
Did you want to,
This is Adam
Yeah.
Jessen he's the
Yeah.
construction manager, project.
yeah?
Yes, thank you. Great to be here. I just want to add from the start kind of where this project came from our perspective. It's that workforce thing. You know, we're really missing that aspect, and I think we got away from it for a few years, and I think the pendulum's coming back, and people are understanding the importance of these kind of trade skills in our economy and in our region. So that's really, I think, from our perspective, a big deal to get these skills and real world experience for the kids. But also the partnerships, you know, whatever we can do as a public agency with the schools and other partners. That's something that Leslie Vermillion, who's our county administrator, really pushes for us. And so this is just a really good example of that coming to fruition. Steve mentioned it a little bit, but when I did reach out, I reached out to a number of schools about this opportunity, and it really was that Steve responded within, I think, an hour. It was the same day, and he had Jeff on board the same day as well. So I talked to both of them within 24 hours of sending that initial email. And at that point, the decision was made because the enthusiasm that I heard was I knew they were going to do a good job. And with the cabins being delivered, the quality work that he spoke to, I mean, I think from my experience, you can also learn a lot by putting the walls up and they're crooked, and you say, I'm not going to do that again. So maybe you missed out on that learning experience of doing the job wrong, but maybe not everyone needs that as much as I do. But the quality is incredible. It was well exceeded our expectations. And so, yeah, we have some work yet to do, but I think at the end of the day, we're going to have something that's going to stand the test of time and be out there and be able to hold up to the elements. And, the kids who worked on this can go stay in those cabins with their families, that kind of thing. It's just a really cool project in that way. But really just can't say enough about the quality work that was done. Let's see. I think that's most of what I wanted to add. Oh, just that, from this experience, I want to reiterate what I've heard from the county board and from Leslie in terms of our commitment to continuing this type of partnership. We're always looking for more opportunities to bring these kinds of projects to the schools, and so really happy with how this turned out, and happy to be here. Happy to answer any questions too.
What are some of the other opportunities that you see that have collaboration?
That's a good question. So we do have more parks that we're continuing to that have room for improvements. Cleary Lake Park and Doyle Kennefic is another park in the eastern part of the county where potentially camper cabins like this could be done. And if we can make that happen, I think there's a lot that we learned on these projects that we could do. We could improve the process even and have something consistent. When we started out, we had some crazy designs for these cabins. We didn't know where we wanted to go with them. We came around to this model, and I think so far I think we're really happy with how they look, and I think they were complicated but doable for the students. And so in that regard, I think we have a model that we can follow if those opportunities come around. But other than that, I mean, I think we're still looking at that, but we're open to it, and that's half the battle. I think is just being on the lookout for those opportunities. Tiny homes, thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up, with the possibility of tiny homes for homeless or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I almost made it.
Good evening, and thank you for partnering with us on this. They are quite incredible, and I would really suggest you take a drive down to Highway 2 and go over to Cedar Lake Park and see what your students did, because they just blew all of us away. They are really beautiful, they are really incredible, and they are going to be a great attribute to the Scott County Park System for years moving forward. We have a program right now where we're looking at housing, right? Scott County does have a homelessness issue. We have 130 some people and families that are hurting in all of our communities. It doesn't matter which city you're in. And so as the county board has been looking at this, we've been talking about faith community opportunities and nonprofits. They're not interested in warehousing people in large shelters, but how do we construct some smaller homes or units where people can be a family and yet be supported by the faith community and nonprofits that the community can come beside. And so one of them that we're exploring, and Adam probably didn't want to bring it up, but it is tiny homes. A couple in Belle Plaine, New Prague, and Jordan possibly are on the list. And so as we start to look at opportunities and the county being able to provide the funding for those types of materials and having partnerships with our high schools, that would be one area that we would look with. I think our Parks Director has some smaller type things even that would like to talk about with your different shop and building type classes. But I think that's one where we could look at again, where it would make a real difference in their community, and you could see what great work they can do. So that is one.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for partnering with us and giving us the opportunity, and thank you, Steve, for saying yes and jumping on board. We are so fortunate to have you and to give our kids this opportunity to learn real life skills and to provide a service for the county provide this service. So I really encourage the county to continue offering these things. That would be wonderful, and it's a great partnership, and we're very fortunate to have somebody of quality like Mr. McCullen, who really takes pride in his work, and the kids love doing what they do. So even if they don't go into that field, just the lifelong skills that they are acquiring by doing this, is amazing, so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yes. It's amazing. Thank you. Okay, MOU between EMJ and JPS. Superintendent Evenson.
All right, Chair Polly, members of the board, for the last several months, I've been providing you updates in relation to the sub-principal position that we will have open starting in probably late January, early February, and will run through the remainder of the school year, parallel to last year. With some of the changes legislatively that happened this year in relation to PELRA and some of the language around continuing contract, the definition of a teacher or substitute, we needed to approach this position differently. So we worked with our attorney, Jennifer Early, and constructed an MOU. We no longer call it an interim position, as it is a sub-principal position. And essentially, the MOU is necessary because with some of those changes, if we were to move forward with the plan that we have, we need to also make sure that Rose Branson, who is the subject of this, her rights are protected as a teacher. We would not want her to lose her seniority by taking this on for the district, so it was critical we worked with EMJ on that. We wanted to work with the principals group as well, because this is involving them as well with the principal's contract, and then also preserving the rights of our school district moving forward. So the MOU, everyone came together, everyone was in agreement, it was the right thing to do, and it was very easy to do. So before you tonight, we have the MOU. EMJ has already signed, the principals have already signed, Rose has already signed. So if you approve tonight, then we will get that signature tonight and be able to move forward with that. And Rose Branson will serve again as our substitute principal. And just as a side note with that, following this last school year, we had a significant amount of positive feedback on how things went. It was very seamless and smooth. I met with the faculty council at the middle school who unanimously said they appreciated how smooth that it went, and they would like that consistency for this upcoming year as well. So I felt it was appropriate to look into how we move forward in the best way to protect the rights of everybody involved, knowing that there were significant changes to PELRA with this last legislative session.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I have a question, quick.
No, first we'll do a motion.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Corinne, motion. Lauren, I'll give you the second. Okay, now discussion.
I was just curious, like, it doesn't list any, it talks about like the pay being prorated, but what about like benefits? Does that have to be in there?
That's included.
With
It's listed the way
okay.
it's required to be listed,
Okay.
yes.
I just, didn't
Yeah.
see that, so I was curious.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions about it? Okay, if not, all those in favor of approving the MOU between EMJ and JPS regarding the Rose's position signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, that was a quick meeting. Now on to the board reports. Superintendent report.
All right. Okay. So sharing our story. First off, I don't know how it's October. In full transparency, September was amazing. It really just was. Our kids just rocked it coming back to school. Our staff just jumped right in. I absolutely loved September. So proud of all the kids. I had a really unique experience. I think I shared this in one of my updates at the elementary school with a fourth grade student who has become really skillful with 3D printing. And just the amount of interesting projects that are happening across our schools. This was with fourth graders. And this student designed like a name plaque and a stand to hold it. So sweet, so thoughtful. But I just thought, my gosh, our kids are really, really doing some really lifelong learning. So that was amazing. The other thing I will tell you that we have been navigating this year that's been entirely interesting has been the traffic. First of all, I just want to give props to so many people. My gosh, we had administrators, principals, directors, we've had teachers, who have been at this main intersection, morning and night. I can't thank them enough. It's not part of their duties. They've gone out of their way to make that happen, to make sure our kids cross safely until the roundabout opened. We'll be continuing that through this week as well until we can get our safety patrol out there. I will tell you this morning, I was so grateful, night and day, like 10,000 times different this morning than what we've experienced with traffic. I can't even tell you. I actually took videos because at promptly 8:01, I think there were like 2 cars, which is a whole other experience than what we had been dealing with. And I will tell you, at its peak, at the busiest time, which is probably around, I would say 7:45 to 7:55, right before our high school kiddos start turning in. Even then, it didn't even come halfway close to what it's been since school started. It was such a relief and blessing this morning to see. We didn't even have Leanne directing traffic. It was seamless, so much better. So very happy to have that. Kelly Heyer was hired as school patrol advisor this year, and so she's been recruiting some of our littles at the middle school. Typically, that's 5th and 6th graders, so they'll be working on school safety patrols and getting that up and running. It's a lot later than we've ever done, but it was the right thing to push that back. So we're excited. I will say too, this past week, also interesting, we had a visit from one of the assistant directors from the Department of Ed, Susan Samaha, and we had our instructional leadership team meet with her. They had requested, they meaning the Commissioner of Education, I forget who else was part of that email, but the commissioner specifically had requested last spring that they'd like to go out and see visits because they don't get out very much to districts. And I was like, yeah, come on to Jordan. We have all kinds of things to share with you. And so we got an email maybe about 2 days, 3 days before that this assistant director would be coming out to Jordan. So we weren't sure how long. We didn't know if it was going to be a whole day or what it would look like. Turns out she came out for an hour. But,
Awesome.
super. So we met and had very honest conversations about our hopes and dreams for transparency and being a part of the conversation as they're making statewide decisions, and just the struggles with some of the one-size-fits-all approaches that came through this last legislative session. She assured us she would bring that back to the commissioner and their group. I would say the highlight of that piece of it, because I thought it was important too, for her to see some really important things that are happening. Our summit program, we have our medical careers, our health care class, and we had 2 students that were willing to share with her the learning. That was Reagan Gable and Sarah O'Hearn. We didn't have our whole class going because incidentally at that very moment they were over at the assisted living, Oak Hills, or Oak Terrace. Oak Terrace, and they were doing some of their routine work over there because we have a good partnership with them. But Reagan and Sarah killed it. They were amazing. They shared some of the things that they've been learning, some of their experiences that have carried on to actually jobs that they have in the medical field outside of school, so that was really neat. And I think the assistant director was kind of surprised by our medical skills lab and the things that we have for our students, and our kids really made me proud. They made us all proud. So that was a pretty exciting thing that happened. In addition on my report, referendum building project, we continue to move forward with some of the finer details, where electrical plugins are gonna go, things like that. So we're kind of getting into all of those components. That was my favorite example. And honestly, I got a call on Friday, this last Friday, with just an update, as they're always checking budget. And we continue to be well under budget and in a good place, which makes me feel good going into the bidding, because you just never know how that'll turn out. So I'm appreciative with the fact that everybody's worked really hard to get us all the things that we want, to be able to do, and we remain under budget. So, outside of that, I have the upcoming events. Walk Bike to School, just another note, we moved that back to the 12th. It's usually, I think, October 4th. It's usually this week. We just didn't know what we were going to be dealing with traffic this week, and we wanted to make sure with the roundabout we were in a good place and we knew the traffic pattern. So we decided to move that back last week just in case. So outside of that, lots of opportunities to come and see our kids shine, lots of activities. And I know we're already moving into some section events. I think I saw section tennis just happening. We've got soccer this week. We've got all kinds of goodies. So, and I think it's the rivalry week. I think we've got Bell playing volleyball and football maybe this weekend. So, any questions? That was a lot.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and we have all the other reports listed. Any comments or questions about any of them? I just want to comment that I'm impressed with the attempts, especially at the high school, with the connectedness piece, the way that they're very intentionally trying to partner a staff with a student to make sure that each student has somebody. And Daniela, maybe you can attest to that too.
Yeah, I have that written.
You do, great, good. Well, I'll let you shine on that, but I'm just really impressed with that. So when we get to your report, we'll look forward to that, good. And then great news with the nutrition services, the numbers are up and things are going well there, so.
Can I comment on that?
Yes.
The numbers are really up. And so one thing that I'll be studying, Kelly's been collecting the data, and so Amy and I will be looking at that. We may need to add some additional staffing in one of our buildings based on the number of meals that we are serving. So I'll keep you posted on that, and the numbers all have to work, but that is a potential.
Great, good. Okay, any other comments or questions about any of the director's reports? Okay, then we'll turn it over to our student rep and hear her report. She has something special for us, so.
For my report today, I'll be going over 3 main sections of my report. I looked through Mr. Visner's, and it's kind of the same thing: improving student achievement, learning, career, and college readiness, provide a safe, collaborative culture in which to learn and work, and provide community connection, satisfaction, and engagement. Starting us off today are our captains Logan Rachel and Kaden Lenny. They both agreed that the team has had the best start in Hubman soccer history. They had a great senior night on September 12th, ending in a draw to the Watertown Mayor Royals. Logan's favorite part of the season is seeing how so many different players are scoring. Metamorphosis by rap artist Playboy Cardi is Kaden's favorite hype song before games.
It is, yeah. That's my kids.
And some pictures of them. We got Jordan on the right and then the team. Next, we have the Hubman. They had a great start to their season, starting off with the fall camp and beating Marshall 20-7 and Laverne 49-7. When asked, Seth Noyes said that his favorite part of the season so far was when head coach Ozzie Sand about the team raising canes after a volleyball game. Interesting highlights of the season so far include Mason Adamic's interception against St. Peter and Elijah Higgins' sack against Laverne. Carson Schoenbauer stated that he enjoys team chemistry before and after games. And then some pictures of the team. Students at the high school received an email informing them of the new opportunity to join esports. They described themselves as the world of competitive and organized video gaming. They will be facing competitors from all over the state, and some of the games that they face the other schools are Super Smash Bros., Minecraft, League of Legends, Varsity Valorant, Rocket League, and Fortnite. Students at the high school, one of the biggest organizations / clubs at the high school would be the Equity Leadership Crew. They are a student-led group where members are able to connect with others, have compassion, and create safe spaces for people to open up. The ELC is focused on having caring and committed conversations that center around shining light on topics that don't get discussed in schools and mainstream media. Sarah Miller and Malik Peer are the administrators of this group. The academic goal this year for the high school is to have 93% of seniors to graduate on time, and that each student, like Chairman Deb said, build a relationship with at least one adult, whether that be a teacher or staff in the building. Ramp Up to Readiness started the second week of school during SNAP each Tuesday. Students are required to listen to the lessons that cover 5 vital areas of readiness, which include academics, admission, career, financial, social, and emotional. Jordan High School is participating in the new pilot program called Direct Admissions Minnesota. This has been designed to make sure that all high school students know that they have options for education and training after high school through Minnesota colleges. The goal is to help seniors reduce stress and anxiety surrounding college admissions. One day a month, we have the Armed Services come to GHS for students to meet with them to discuss plans after graduations. Another part of college readiness is Summit Academy, and we kind of talked about that already. As stated in the 2023-2024 course registration guide, students have the opportunity to take professional studies courses that combine cross-curricular and real-world learning. This opportunity will give students to earn an opportunity to earn college credits in a team-taught environment. Over at the elementary school, most athletic opportunities for students happen through the Jordan Community Education and other athletic organizations. Some memorable events include the Run of the Mill that occurred on September 9th, and on July 28th, we had the Youth Track and Field Camp. At JES, there are also many options for students to join an activity or club. Examples of this would be the DLC Diversity Leadership Crew Juniors, as well as the school's new leadership course that is available to 4th graders. The elementary school's goal this year is to meet each student's unique academic and behavioral needs through a multi-tiered solid system of support. This system consists of understanding and listening to all perspectives, students, staff, and families. They would also like all grade level scores to meet or be above state and national standards on reading and math in the spring of 2024. Finally, JES is committed to having all students learn and grow at school. Ms. Barnett stated that Minnesota has the largest achievement gap in the nation. This has challenged her and her staff, but they have reflected on their role and responsibilities to students, families, and one another in addressing this issue, which has heavily reflected on their goals this year. Students in the middle school have the chance in participating in high school level sports. Some of the activities going on right now for them include football, girls swimming and diving, boys and girls soccer, and volleyball from grades 7 through 8. Dance, girls tennis, and cross country are open through 6th and 8th grade students. Many JMS students get pulled up to play in higher level teams because of their skill level or to meet the required players on the team. JMS students have a variety of opportunities when it comes to joining clubs and organizations. They have student council, diversity leadership crew, web leaders, jazz band, sunset singers, and theater in the fall and spring. Jordan Middle School's goals this year is to have 80% of students meet their individual growth in learning, in reading and math. In addition, each grade level team will communicate monthly with families in a proactive manner. To prepare students for the high school and even college level learning, students in the middle school learn in an environment that nurtures cognitive, physical, and emotional needs. The staff provides courses for all students to explore new interests and comprehensive. The next section that I'll be going through will be a safe and collaborative culture in which to learn and work. In all 3 schools, they encourage students to show their Jordan pride. They also have SEL, social and emotional learning, PBIS, positive behavior interventions and supports, and restorative practices. To be more specific, at the high school, teachers this year are greeting students at the door to accomplish one of their goals this year. Over the summer, teachers and staff attended training sessions on meeting the needs of diverse learners. In the middle school, their theme for this year continues to be Grow Your Jordan Pride. They explicitly teach students the power of their words and actions. The elementary staff goes through the district-wide SEL plan. The social worker, behavior specialist, and school psychologists work with the students to help cultivate the good culture that is needed. And then finally, we have improved community connection, satisfaction, and engagement. Last week was homecoming week, and it was a hit with the dress-up days. My favorite one was Style Swap. The football team took on the Waseca Blue Jays. Unfortunately, the boys lost 14-47. During halftime, they had a weather delay that opened up, and as a result, they opened up the high school for both teams that were attending to watch. They also introduced the 1983 football team. And then, I know it's kind of a whiles away, but the Jaime Fest was also a success for the school. During the annual parade, Jordan had the high school band team, the cheer team, and several teachers and staff walking alongside the bus. To create more connections in the high school, they offer a curriculum advisory board, which is conferences opportunities, and then at least 2 to 3 speakers for parents. And then similar to the high school, the middle school has what is called curriculum night, which is today. I did not know it was today when I wrote it. The purpose of this is to provide clear communication to families about what's being taught. And then lastly, the Jordan Elementary PTO is a great way for families to participate in the elementary school. They have a lot of volunteer opportunities that include music concerts, field trip, chaperones, and helping out in the classroom. And I also wanted to add that the lunches this year have been so good. Like, I've been eating so good at school. But yeah, needless to say, like you said at the beginning, we have had an amazing start to our school year. And then I kind of stole most of the pictures from my classmates, so I put all their names at the end of the slide.
And weren't you saying that you normally didn't eat school lunch here?
No.
So now that this is,
It's good. Today we actually had like a noodle chicken bowl, and it was so good. Like, it was
What
good.
about breakfast?
I don't get to school in time to eat breakfast, but I'll eat some, and I'll let you guys know.
That was an awesome,
that was
awesome report.
wonderful,
Daniela.
wonderful.
Questions for Daniela? That's great. And then, yeah, just great job. I love how you included all the schools and all the highlights.
I
of
appreciated
everything.
it. It was so comprehensive. That was, yes.
Lauren?
Yeah, it was really a great report. I'm wondering how the homecoming dance,
Yeah.
was there a lot of participation?
Yeah,
Just
so
because of the
I'm
delay
also-
in weather or something?
Yeah, so I'm also part of the student council, and so I can tell you guys, because of the weather delay, we did open up the concession stand, so we did make money there. We had people playing cross net together and like can jam. And it was really funny because we had parents from Wasika playing with like us, so like it was super funny. It was hilarious. But concerning the dance, no one went. Partially because we also lost and the weather was not too good, but we did not lose any money because of the concession stand. So Mr. Martin was on it.
That's
Yeah, I think
awesome.
with the delay and, I mean, that just.
Yeah, it kind
It
of
really-
set us back.
It did.
Great job, great report. Thank you, Daniela. Super, super, super. Okay, on to committee reports. Budget Finance, like I said, they're preparing for the auditors coming in, which is always a big time for the district office, so things will be happening there. Calendar has not met, but I did see that Elise is starting to do some prep work, I think, so, yeah. And I suspect they'll be meeting within a couple months, for sure.
Usually November, so she works on it in October.
City School has not met, but we do have a meeting
This
coming
month,
up
like-
this month.
Right before our next,
5 o'clock.
yes, yeah.
City Hall.
So that night, the workshop meeting will be at 6:30, not 5:30. And there will not be supper that night. So those that are on the city school meeting, it's at 5 o'clock at City Hall, 5 to 6, and then we'll come up here for the workshop. Okay, Community Ed and Rec, Lauren or Corinne? And/or,
We are meeting the 16th.
okay. Curriculum and Tech, that's Jenny and myself. The next meeting is the 16th, or the first meeting of the year is the 16th. Sounds like she has some new candidates, new people that are joining the committee, so that's good. So if you have any parents that are interested, like I have a neighbor that just reached out to me and said she's interested in getting involved, so I'm actually calling her back tonight and encouraging her to join the Curriculum and Tech Committee, so.
Or even people that showed up tonight, they're interested, like to the middle schools, like curriculum stuff, you know? Like maybe they would consider joining.
Yeah, so spread the word. Good. Facilities, we have not met. Meet and confer, we have not met. Negotiations, we have not met. But we're gonna need to grab you for a minute to set up a meeting
Okay.
date.
can I go back to meet and confer?
Yes, you may.
That's scheduled for October 18th. I did talk to Sarah about that with EMJ. As always, we wait until that week, and if there are no topics, then we make the decision that week. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Oh.
But our approach the last 3 years has been as questions come up, we deal with them as they come up. Don't wait for a meeting. But, I mean, you never know. There could be things to talk through.
Okay. Policy, we have not met. Okay. APAC, oh gosh,
We did.
we did meet.
We had a great dinner last week.
Oh, I wasn't at the dinner. You want to fill us in on that?
Sure. So they had kind of a meet and greet for APAC on, must have been Thursday night, because I
Thursday,
was
'cause I had
double booked.
negotiations,
Yep.
yeah.
And Commercial Club, same night.
Yes.
But I went to APAC and we had a good crowd. It was a nice turnout. Al Hodak and Ann Heigl, excuse me, shared kind of the role of the committee, what they do, you know, need for people to join and be a part of it. They've got kids. I mean, Ann's a grandparent now on the committee, but Al's kid, daughter is graduating. And so, you know, we're looking for membership with that. But gosh, it was a nice event. There were so many little kids there and just full families. And it's a good community. I think it's important. We have a strong APAC group in our community, and they are just continuing to do nice things. So I'm glad I went.
Good. And I believe October 9th, we have the Indigenous Day
Yes.
events.
Yes. That's a
next
Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Yep. I think we have, oh gosh, there's
that when they're doing-
events all day.
Is that when they're doing dedicating the drum for?
No, I think that is Tuesday night. I think the drumming is Tuesday night. Yeah,
Okay.
but there's lots of things happening for Indigenous Peoples' Day with our kids.
Okay. Booster Club.
Nope. No meeting.
These committees have got to get meeting. Education Foundation, not met. Legislative, ongoing. The SRO thing is kind of taking lots of curves and turns, and still it doesn't sound like there will be a special session. I think after the Attorney General came out with his statement, Mary Murphy, the state AG Attorney General, had differing opinions. So the SRO thing is kind of a hot button thing still, so we'll see where that goes. MSHSL, I had a Region 2 committee last week. We reviewed and approved the fall fine arts schedules, the sites, tournament managers. We approved the 2A handbook. Couple changes coming. District football language, because there's quite a few young ladies going out for playing football. They're no longer going to call it the 9-man team for the schools that have 9-man football. They're going to call it 9-player teams. Softball is going, and I see that we just hired, or are in the process of hiring our softball coach. They're going to a 3-day state tournament, which is going to be a change because they've only had a 2-day state tournament, so that's a change. Speech citations on visual aids and stage props and tiebreakers and those kinds of things were discussed, and recommendations were being sent on to the board at the high school league. And track and field is adding a 400-meter wheelchair race. So I think that's pretty cool. And this is really good news. All member schools are going to see a refund this year and next year. The state is giving back $2.35 million, and that money comes from sales tax. And so we'll be seeing approximately half of that coming back to the member schools, and it comes back on a prorated basis depending on number of students you have, number of activities you participate in, and yeah.
Where's the other half go?
I believe it stays in the foundation at the high school league because they give grants twice a year also. And schools get money through that too, so. And the dues this year is $100 per school. they changed some of this with all the COVID when the high school league was kind of financially really hurting. So when they had their finance group of people from around the state come together, they came up with some new formulas. So each school, no matter how big you are, pays a $100 school dues fee. And then $2.25 per student that participates, and $160 per activity. And this is the same building as last year. They hope to reduce the student fee to $1 next year, but they have to wait and see how funding goes. Volleyball Task Force Committee is being created to determine when boys volleyball will be played, if it'll be spring or fall. And then there was a big discussion about tournament seating, so that's to be determined. That is pretty much it for that. Scale?
I have that on Friday morning. It's either this Friday or next Friday morning. I think it's this Friday morning. I don't know what the topic is yet.
Okay.
But could I circle back to the SRO
Yes.
piece? I just want to make sure that if anybody's watching, yes, there's a lack of clarity around the whole SRO topic across the state. In Jordan, it's been actually very clear between, the city, between Chief Empey. I think they even had an article in the JI about it like last week. They have been 100% solidly saying our SROs are in place and staying in place in Jordan. So I don't want anyone in town worried that, there's a plan to pull the SRO in Jordan. They've been extremely communicative and supportive.
Okay. SEAC did not meet, and then Southwest Metro. We met last week. Southwest Metro is really, really, really short teachers. And they joined with another district that is bringing in international teachers. And I believe it's the Philippines, right? Or Puerto Rico or the Philippines?
He wasn't specific on the where, but I know he worked with the Fridley superintendent on it.
Yes. And they've had great applicants, and they're hoping to have them here and in place after MEA break. So it sounds like a win-win. I think they can stay for 2 years on their H1 green visa thing. So several areas have used it and had really good luck. So hopefully that will alleviate some of the shortfalls of special ed teachers and stuff that Southwest Metro is experiencing. They're part of a para-to-teacher grant pipeline that they're working on to help paras that are interested in becoming teachers, to help with some of that too. Negotiations is ongoing. We had another 4.5-hour meeting this week. We have 3 more nights set up. Negotiations are still going on. And I think that is it, basically, for Southwest Metro. Okay, so on to board reports. Sarah?
No, I just want to thank you again for a very comprehensive student report. That was awesome to go through. Is it time to go?
Good evening.
Sorry.
If you are wanting to attend one of the breakout sessions, we will start those at 7:30 sharp. So if you want to attend one of those breakout sessions, you can join us at 7:30. There are signs outside the pod for the different session and the room location. Thank you.
Thank you. So homecoming week, Friday was so fun. The parade, all the festivities, the pep fests, the game, that was exciting in a different way because of lightning and rain.
Well, and honestly, if you don't mind me jumping in, there was some learning for me. It was the first time I had experienced that, and what I learned is that the officials make the call on whether to postpone the game or not postpone the game and what that looks like. So that's an official's decision. I know there was some conversation about how that happens.
Yeah.
Not my call.
No.
So
Yes, and I didn't even know
interesting.
until then, or till Friday night, that potentially we could have started back Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that was a thing.
New
I
learning.
didn't either. It's funny because I
have
was.
no idea.
I got drenched leaving at halftime. And I went home thinking, well, this is it, because it was
Yeah.
gonna go on forever, I thought. And so I went home and I was watching 10 o'clock news, and all the news, sports reporters were saying, so-and-so's game is postponed till tomorrow, so-and-so's game is postponed till tomorrow. I texted Renee and said, are we postponing the game? And she said, no, we just finished.
Yeah.
At 10:45.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a late
But I
one.
didn't even know it was an option
I didn't
to
either.
start it up
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So that was great. As you stated, we're wrapping up the regular season for fall sports already. I mean,
I know.
sections started this week for tennis, next week is soccer. Football will be a couple weeks after that, you know, it's crazy, we're wrapping up this. And I do just want to give a shout out to Kelly Nutritional Services. I know she's is working on a lot of the banquets right now for the fall sports, and I just think it's such a wonderful opportunity that we can provide this service in-house and still have that catering services, but not have to look outside, and and to make it more of an event for our students. You know, not taking away from a potluck, because we like our potlucks,
yeah.
but, you know, it just makes it more of a fun event, and I love that we can use our services in-house, and the monies go back into our district, so,
And she does such a good job.
amazing,
Yeah.
yeah, so, that's all I have.
Rob?
I don't have a ton. I was looking from afar, all of the activities that happened last week, and it looked like it was a blast. And my kids told me that it was a blast, at least with what they were experiencing. I want to kind of circle back to what we were talking about a little bit before, just with kind of the traffic and kind of getting kind of everything kind of situated, just how great everybody was in terms of just making sure kids got to where they needed to be on time, but more importantly, safe. And that also extends to Benjamin Bus and how awesome those guys are. And so just want to make sure, kind of giving props to them kind of through that whole thing as well. And yeah, just can't believe that we're basically halfway through, you know, first semester, kind of crazy. Time flies when you're having fun.
Corinne?
Yeah, last week was fun. The kids dressing up, went to a couple games. I will say the leadership program in the elementary school I think is really great. I'm seeing my fourth grader just step up in different ways and pushing a little bit through it, which it's interesting to see. She's very introverted, and so not knowing that even existed and having her come home and tell me was pretty cool. And I also can see the other side of it, you know, the kids that they're mentoring and what a difference that makes. My second grader through what's it called, book buddies that we do. So when she was in kindergarten, her book buddy was in fourth grade, and every time Eden sees her anywhere at a game or whatever, the girl's now in sixth grade and runs up and hugs her, and like it's built such a really neat relationship between these two grades. Really, I just think it's great, and then I'm seeing that in the leadership side of things too. So really cool program that they're doing there, and kind of just echoing what Rob said about the bus. The bus situation has been so good for us. There's been a few challenges throughout the year, like past years. This year, our bus driver sits at the corner and waits until exactly he's supposed to be there, and like it takes off a lot of stress just overall. And I know they're separate, but they're just doing a really good job too. So I also wanted to call that out. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Okay. Jenny?
My kids also enjoyed homecoming. I have to say that I really liked that all the elementary kids got like the the necklaces. Like my kids were pumped. Like Franklin still wears his like all weekend. My husband was like, "Are you ever gonna stop wearing those?" He's like, "No." So I really appreciated that. Like we didn't have to buy them. Everyone got them. And I went on the Southwest Metro bus tour. That was very interesting. It was very educational. I can see like the shortage and like the wait list and the need for their staff. Yeah, I mean, but they have such cool programs. Like we got to go see all the co-ops. So it's like the kids that go over, it's like, oh, this is like the cosmetology room. Like that's really great. yeah, so it was really good. And they were talking about maybe doing like another tour with like some of their further out locations, like in the future possibly, which I thought, oh, that's really great too. I'd like to see some of the other places they have. But yeah, I think it's really great that our kids have opportunities to like go there. Other than that, I don't know. We've just been plugging along. Tony's coaching football, so we're busy.
Great. Lauren?
I'm sorry I'm not there again, guys. And I've been watching most of this from afar. However, I will say I was able to attend a couple of soccer games that last week, and watching all the homecoming activities was also amazing. We always have a really good time with that, and congratulations to the 1983 Hall of Fame football team as well. But really, I don't have anything. I haven't attended any of the meetings that I'm typically attending. So that's all.
I have to say it
Okay.
was great to see you in person, though, for the couple times that I did.
Yeah, I do miss everybody. Oh my God.
And we
I
miss
like
you.
this.
We miss
Everybody.
you.
We do miss.
Yeah, I just have a quick couple shout outs. One is today is National Custodian Day, so I do want to give a shout out to our custodians. They do an amazing job, and especially the other night when the storm was coming up and we had the Hall of Fame event reception set up outside with a tent and tables and chairs, and when the weather looked like it was going to be nasty, the custodians and everybody just pitched in along with staff. And one high school student, and I apologize, I don't know her name, but she came forward and said, you guys need help. She worked her off. She helped, and it was just so sweet, and she just kept saying, if I see a need, I just help. So that was really great. So shout out to the custodian crew. And I did attend the Hall of Fame, and I'm telling you, it was amazing. It truly was amazing. In fact, funny story. So every year I've been, if you haven't been, you need to go. Every year since they've started the Hall of Fame, it typically gets to be pretty emotional. The winners talk about, the recipients talk about what it meant to them to be part of the Jordan schools and the Jordan community. And oftentimes they get pretty choked up. And as a result, the audience gets pretty choked up. So I was at the commercial club meeting last Thursday night, and as part of that, I always give a report of what's going on in the school district. And so I was talking up the Hall of Fame, and I was telling the commercial club people, you know, how emotional it can be and how just to see the pride and stuff. And then I kind of laughed because Chad Sandy was there, who was one of the 83 football team recipients. And I don't know if you know Chad or not, but kind of a macho guy. And then I started laughing and said, yeah, football team 83. Yeah, it probably won't be emotional at all. Lo and behold, one of the speakers, one of the players, broke down and literally stood at the mic for,
Felt like a long time.
it felt like
Yeah.
minutes. He couldn't talk because of what that experience meant to him. It was just powerful. And then Jim Trapp spoke as the coach at that time. Lee Rebstock. And then they also honored Gunner, Tom Sand, because he was one of the coaches then too. So it was just very, very powerful, moving night, and a great turnout of the team. So, yeah, that was fun. That's about all I have, other than encouraging people to try to take in the concerts that are coming up, and that's all I have. Do you have anything else, Daniela, on the personal level?
I've been doing good. Senior year, I don't get as much homework, but the homework I get is pretty hard. So I kind of had to relearn my time management skills again, but nothing too bad. I am taking a Summit Academy class, Intro to Ed, and I had my paper due last Friday, and I did it all the night before. So we'll see what I get.
That's
But
impressive.
I usually work better when I'm on a time crunch for some reason. So hopefully an A.
So I have homework for you. When you have your presentations at the end of the class, will you make sure that the full board gets invited to those presentations? Usually Miss Yomlin does, but
Yeah.
just if the invite would come from you, that would be awesome too. So.
Yeah, I did fill out my my form to see what teacher I would like, and I would really like to teach elementary, specifically kindergarten, so I filled out to be specifically put in that age level. I was going to do helping with like EL, since I speak fluent Spanish, But since I'm taking a Spanish level 5 class, I'm already helping through that. So I thought, best of both worlds if I do both. So yeah, kind of going back with homecoming, I had a blast with my friends. Coronation was so much fun. Like, that was intense. And then obviously I was able to MC the Pep Fest. And the microphones didn't really work. It was a little bit embarrassing, but no one really remembers after like a day, so it's fine. We gave out candies. We had the, I think it's called Jagmanther, the high school's like teacher band, and they had some students play. That was pretty fun. I was able to play in the Potter Puff. That was really fun. One of the junior girls though, like elbowed me in my jaw. No, like they were a little salty that they lost because they say we cheated, but we didn't. But I didn't obviously say nothing. I just a little out of it, but that's okay. But yeah, no, I'm just so glad that our senior class is really able to come together, and put aside our differences to like experience our senior Potter Puff. Obviously, like all the girls did their little jeans and all those things, and that was really cute to see. So yeah, it's good.
Great, good, thank you. Anybody have anything else? If